Hello the internet, and welcome to another CNRL Library Innovation Studio home workshop where we show you how to grow your own veggie patch. And today we're going to talk about pest control. Now, we've got our veggies planted in our veggie patch, but we're not the only hungry ones. Everything out there is going to be keen for a bite of what we've got. From aphids to slugs, caterpillars, grasshoppers, and lots of other insects as well. And we're going to show you how you can either prevent them from getting anywhere near your vegetables, which is best, or get them off your vegetables once they're on there. Now, I'm a bit of a pacifist and I'm a big believer in preventing insects getting to your veggie patch in the first place. It's all very well killing slugs, but as soon as you walk away, what's to stop the slugs just coming in and taking control when you're not there? Much easier and much better to make sure they can't get to your veggie patch in the first place. But we're going to show you a range of options that will prevent insects getting to your garden, and if they do manage to get there, to actually get rid of them. What you're going to need for this workshop depends on what you're trying to stop. We have netting, or this is the old broken mosquito net, which can be very good for getting rid of grasshoppers and hungry birds. We have sand, road base, grit, other kind of rough, coarse surfaces to try and deter slugs. We also have just plain old water in a spray bottle, which is very good for knocking aphids off. And as a very last resort, we have vegetable oil and soap, which we can combine into a fluid that will kill just about any insect, including the good ones. So this is an absolute last resort. We don't want to use this unless we have to. Now, there's lots of good natural predators in the garden that'll take care of most of the insects. You have birds, and we're going to try and attract lots of birds to our garden. Our seedlings are a little bit bigger. They'll love to eat caterpillars, slugs, all sorts of things. Other insects, not all insects are after your plants. Some insects are after other insects. For instance, ladybugs, fantastic. They can eat up to 400 aphids a day, and that'd be brilliant in our garden. And aphids is what I'm going to show you first. All you're going to need for this is a spray bottle of water. That's it. Okay, now for grasshoppers. I don't actually have a problem with grasshoppers, but my friend Robin, who just lives on the other side of town, has terrible trouble with grasshoppers getting to a veggie patch and eating all sorts of good stuff. And what she does is put up netting. All you have to do is make sure you've got some poles in the ground to keep it up and to make sure that this touches the ground. You can have a few plant pots around to keep it down on the ground, stones, that sort of thing, and that way they can't even get in, but the air can get in, the sunlight can get in, and the rain can get in, which is all important to keep your vegetables alive. Now I'm going to go on to slugs. Slugs love eating cabbages and all sorts of other leaves. They can be a great problem in your veggie patch, and they're a bit of a problem for me, to be honest. Now, there's lots of ways to kill slugs, lots of commercially available solutions as well, but I wouldn't recommend many of them. Slug pellets are very poisonous. If you've got pets, that's not going to be great for them. If you're putting salt on slugs, it's a pretty horrific death for them, and it's also really bad for your garden. Your plants don't want to grow in a high salt environment. There are other natural traps and ways of getting rid of them, such as the beer trap, which you can look up if you want to. I'm not going to go into that today. If you want to distract slugs, you could grow some lawn chamomile on the other side of your garden. They absolutely adore it, and they will be attracted by the smell of it. What I'm going to try and do is prevent the slugs from getting anywhere near my veggie patch in the first place. I've got some road base, and I'm going to create a border around my garden, so when the slugs come up to it, they'll go, I don't fancy crawling over this stuff, and they'll go and eat some other plants in my garden that I don't care about. There's plenty of good stuff out for them to eat. They don't have to eat my vegetables. The important thing is to make sure there's no way for the slug to get in. Slugs can't fly, but they're certainly very clever. If there's some leaves or a weed or anything like that that's touching the ground on the wrong side of the border, they will climb up it and explore and eventually find my vegetables. So once I've got all my road base down to make a good, coarse, protective border, I need to go out every now and again and make sure that there's nothing lying across it, that no sticks have gone from one side of the border to the other, and none of my plants are drooping on one side. But it's a lot easier than patrolling it all day, every day, trying to catch slugs in the act of eating my plants. Now, if your veggie patch has become overrun by some kind of insect and there's really nothing you can do about it except for to get rid of them, here's our last ditch solution. All you're going to need for this is vegetable oil and dishwasher liquid. I'll show you how to mix it in a moment, but all you're going to do is spray the insects, spray the plants. This isn't going to do the plants any harm at all. It's not going to do you any harm at all either, because it's not a toxic poison for humans. The only thing to be wary of is you don't want to do this on a hot day, because there's oil involved. If you do this on a day that's 30 degrees or hotter, it may actually burn your plants, so we don't want to do that. And once you actually come to cook your vegetables, you're going to give them a wash anyway, so all the oil and all the soap's going to come off so you don't get a bit of a yucky meal. Okay, and this is how you do it. Get your oil and pour it in until it's 4/5 full. If you're using cup measures or something like that, you want half a cup of soap and 2 cups of oil. I'm doing this a bit more by eye. There we go. make sure you've got a bit of room so you can shake this up. Put the stopper on and give it a shake. Very quickly, you'll notice this has turned completely white. This is called white oil. Now, you can keep this for up to 3 months. Then you might need to make a fresh batch, and whenever you use it, give it a shake. I tend to just make it when I need it. All you do then is pour it into a spray container and spray it on the bugs. Now please only use white oil as a last resort. It will kill any insect, including the good ones such as spiders, ladybugs and others that are actually helping your veggie patch. And that's it. Make sure to look at your border every now and again to make sure there's no sticks and leaves and overhanging plants, creating a bridge from one side to the other. Examine the leaves on your plants to see what's going on, to see if anything has flown in and laid eggs, or if any damage is being done. So that way you can catch the problem and solve it as quickly as possible before too much damage is done and before things get out of hand. We hope you enjoyed this gardening workshop. Please like, share and subscribe so you and others can join us on the next CNRL Library Innovation Studio online workshop. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the usual places at Innovation Stew or hashtag Innovation Stew. And check the Home Workshops page on innovationstew.com.au for extra resources. See you next time and happy gardening.